Hey guys, what's up? It's your course director, Emily Ray here. Just wanted to go through your recent portfolio site submissions to give you a little bit of positive, productive feedback on where your site is and ultimately where it needs to go. So I have one site to review here from a Portfolio 3 student, which is Jamari's, and then we're going to take a look at Portfolio 6 online. So let's start here with Jamari. We can see, right away that he is into social media. As I scroll down and I'm reading this intro message here, I was interested to see that you're including images here that are inspiring to you in some way. I appreciate this, but wonder about the copyrighted aspect of what you're showcasing, right? So that's sort of a number one rule for creating your own site, and specifically a portfolio site, is to not include any copyrighted images. So something for you to be thinking about, with how you're presenting yourself, your work, your credibility moving forward. I get that they're inspirational, but certainly, it might be something that you want to re-strategize for how you want to present this inspiration. Going to jump next over to the About Me page. I appreciate this aesthetic that's kind of popping up here. It's a little bit more colorful and playful than what was on the home page, but my question is, why the change? Because when I click on these other pages, they're not uniform. It's only this last one and the one on the About Me page that has these sort of decorative elements. My recommendation is for you to be consistent from page to page so that you are really solidifying the look and feel of your brand. This is a great introduction about you. It seems a little dense in terms of the structure. I would recommend perhaps breaking it up into a couple of paragraphs. The text that you're using is quite condensed as well, which it's giving it more of a squished appearance. This is a great picture. I might bring it over here to this side. You have a nice border here, straight line that this could align with really nicely here on this side, and I would arrange it that way. I'm going to click to view your resume to see what happens, and it looks like it's going to open up as a document here. This looks great. It is selectable text, meaning that it is able to be searched for and found by search engines. Got keyword-rich content, which is great too. Jump back over here and jump to, so like if and when you bring this picture over here, that's going to really sort of squish this information. And if you break these paragraphs up, my recommendation would be to maybe make this into a button and bring the button right down here on the bottom. Going over to social media, it's showing me places that I can connect with you online. So as I hover over these icons, I can see that they are in fact linking to other locations on the web where I could connect. And you've gone ahead and sort of given us a preface to what you're using this space for and why. I think that's an interesting contextualization of your social media ambitions and skills to be able to, share that here with us. One thing to be thinking about too, though, is sharing your social media sites is a great way for someone to get to know you and your approach. Wondering if you have other clients that you've worked with that you could showcase the work that you've done for them. Under projects, I see that you're showcasing a couple of things related to school, which is great. This text, we talked about it being somewhat condensed. And even in a smaller form, it looks like a kind of a dense paragraph here. I appreciate that you've given me the title and the description, right? And in that description, you give me a purpose of the project itself, which is great. You've given me the context to understand the content that you've shared here on the page. But one thing I'm seeing, so you've got your pitch presentation for Remy's, and we can see that this has some social media element to it. But something for you to be thinking about if you are promoting yourself in the social media realm, making sure that you have projects that support your skill set in that area. Last but not least, just a simple contact form, and then again a revisitation of your social media links. They're spread out a little too far. I might make these icons a little bit smaller and bring them in, and then include a call to action. Why should people contact you? Do you want to be hired? If so, what for? Kind of spell that out and let people know, why they should contact you with this form. All right, next up we have Garrett's site, but that's coming in as Centaur PR, so marketing, PR, and community management. So here we have kind of this sliding banner here, which is introducing us to some of the things that you and your company do. Social media, it looks like these are quotes, right? Storytelling, marketing. As I'm scrolling down, there's not much else on this page. So what's missing for me is, you know, what are your words? What are you describing? How are you sort of welcoming people into your site? This is cool and functional, but not having as much a brand authenticity in as much as you're quoting the words of other people in this space instead of talking about your work, who your clients are, what your strategy, what your philosophy is, your mission, your vision, that sort of thing. On the About Us page, just a really short, description that you, do marketing and PR, and you give us a small promise here, and then companies that you've worked with. Portfolio. So here we see a collection of works. I'm going to click on one here, and it looks like, okay. So what that does is it opens up this in a Lightbox Effects. I get to see it bigger, but I get no information. I have really no idea what I'm looking at, why you created it, for whom. So you really aren't giving me a lot to make sense of what you did and to really fully appreciate it. I don't have the context for that. This is the default file name. If you're not going to go in there and put a title and description for these things, it will default to that, which doesn't actually give us any information about this project. So that's a missed opportunity both for keywords and for key explanations of what it is that you and your company are doing. Okay, I'm going to click on this again. Okay, looks like some video editing in terms of a project, but all I see is the file name. This doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't give me any idea of, if I want to hire you for a specific project, give me any real idea about, what you and your company are capable of. I'm going to pop over to services, and I can see, that you are offering a few different services here. So anything from social media to public relations, which is great. It might make sense for you to showcase a project in each one of these areas to show people, what it is that you're talking about. So here you say, don't know what you need. Maybe when they see it, right? When they see what you can do in this realm, it might provide some clarification there. And then contact us. So just a simple let's talk. Not much of a call to action here, not much of an invitation to connect other than, you've got the phone number. But why do some people contact you? What are the pain points that you're looking to address? This is I think it's a wonderful start. It's also a bit of a missed opportunity here on the home page. It seems like the information that you have on the About Us and the Services page could all just be consolidated in a meaningful way here on the home page. So certainly something for you to be thinking about moving forward. Last but not least is there's no human identity on this site. So the only person that I see really are the ones in this meeting, and this looks pretty much like a stock photo, and you don't identify yourself here. You don't give us a person's name to contact here, so it looks a little generic in that sense. And you say, this is who we are, let's talk, contact us, and you're giving the impression that there are multiple people at this agency. And if that is the case, do something to confirm that by showing them, what is the partnership and what is the structure and who works that, and give credible faces to the business. So something for you to think about there. Next up, we're going to take a look at Eric's site. I understand that you are moving to Webflow and that you are sort of in the process of, taking what you had in WordPress, exploring, this other platform. And I was poking through this a little bit before and noticed, it's functional in the sense that, I can navigate to different pages. I can see how you're laying this out and where your projects are going to be showcased, but then in fact that it is just still placeholder content. So the structure is in place, and the functionality looks like it's going to serve you well. I can see that you've already done the work of figuring out the branding and kind of keeping that consistent with the look and feel that you've established in previous courses and in other types of collateral that you've designed. I'm curious to see if you're going to continue with this or if you prefer WordPress as a platform. Would love to hear your thoughts as you continue to wrestle with the possibility of this as where you want to showcase your work. These things aren't linked yet, but I know that you're very meticulous with your work. So mostly just keep pushing and let me know what you think. I'm very curious as to whether you're going to continue with this or jump back over to WordPress. So here we've got CJs, and I appreciate the color scheme and the consistency between this and the resume that you created not too long ago. So the welcome here is a nice picture of you and again, consistency with the brand. But notice that there's not much, there's sort of a missed opportunity with this snapshot, the area above the fold, which is the area above when I start to have to scroll, that it doesn't really tell me, other than who you are, what this site is about. I get that a little bit here. Right? So I get that you're into makeup and transmedia and that stuff. I might just put a little bit more, maybe move your picture over in this area and include the hi, I'm CJ over here. So I'm not having to continue to scroll for that. Let's see, as I'm going down, you've got color and black and white. So that's, an interesting choice. And I don't remember if that matches your resume that you submitted, but my recommendation would be, obviously for it to be consistent across those things. I'm not a fan of the way that these are curving, right? Or this drop shadow that you have going on here for a couple of reasons. This is very blocky, right? So we see these hard angles in the color blocks and in the banners. This curved edge seems like a little bit, it's a stylistic departure from the other things that we're seeing. And I'm not a fan of this stroke, right? And I will say, just because it's inconsistent with what we're seeing here, so it's either make them the same stroke and keep the same sort of angularity in your shapes, or go the other way, go to where you have more of this, right? There's not much else on the site that has this drop shadow, so that's why I'm saying it's looking out of place in this area. Again, consistency is going to be key. I'm scrolling down, I see your gallery of work, and then places where I can connect with you with social media. And then we've got your email address there. I'm going to click and just kind of advance these. Let's click on this to see what happens. It's going to open up the project and I'm seeing, okay, we get the title and then we get the description, right? I certainly appreciate all you've done to more so contextualize this and let us know what it is that we're looking at. So that's awesome. For any of your projects, that's what we're going to want, a title and then a description. Let us know what your role was in it. If you were anything more than the talent, if you were the editor, if you were the makeup artist, if you were all of those things, it's important to note. I'm going to jump back over to the about, and so we're popping in here with the image, and then just a little bit of background, your education. It's nice. It's so this is to see your full resume, and I can click that and it's going to open up a PDF. All right, so there we're seeing that consistency. This pink though is a little bit different than sort of this darker maroon color here, so something for you to be thinking about. I would definitely go in and do some color sampling just to get more consistency between those two things. Jumping over to the gallery of work. As that's popping in, looks like we got some images and some video. I'm going to click on this and see what happens. So it's bringing in the image and then makeup with a glowy skin, and you kind of describe your process and the makeup that you use. So that's great. One of the things though that I would say here is you're not observing great margins, right? So you see the way this content goes all the way down to this bottom line and butts right up against this. You want to make sure that you have at least this much room everywhere, on the page, just to ensure that consistency. I'm going to go next to this All right, so make up the Red Queen. Again, like I appreciate the way you're sharing all of this information about what you did. You're really giving us more of an idea of the depth of your skills, but again, be thinking about making sure there's adequate padding, right? So the margin space here, so empty space, so it's not butting right up against the bottom. I'm going to go over here to blog, and so it looks like we've got one post there. Right, so you have you have one post at this time, which is totally fine. Again, what's going to be most important here is your consistency, right? So consistency in the look, consistency in your posting, in the message, that sort of thing. One of my favorite things to do on my own site is to use my blog to showcase new projects, because a blogging module is archived in a chronological format. So when I make a new blog post, it shows up at the top, and the older ones, they're not deleted, they just kind of get shuffled to the back of the line. So it always keeps my most current content, my most current project at the top. Wondering if that's your intent here, and would recommend that also for you. And then let's connect. It's going to load in this page, and just a simple connect, collaborate. I would, like, are you a makeup artist for hire? Is that the purpose of this site? If so, maybe this should say hire me, or, if you want to set up a consultation, or kind of, lay the groundwork for that, so that if this is how you want to make money moving forward, that this website becomes a tool for you in that purpose. Let's see, last but not least, it looks like we've got Christopher here. So, a very, very clean, striking website here. One thing that I noticed as I kind of loaded this in, we've got the duplication of these logos here. My recommendation would really be just to, use your name and place that over in this space. You're highlighting the logo in a big and prominent way here, which I think is fine. It looks, cleaner in this larger display. The stroke and sort of the edges don't have the same clarity in this smaller application. And then as I scrolled, I noticed this, right? So where your name is here doesn't match up with a center alignment, right? So research and target market is a little bit off to the right. And so like you've kind of set up this thing that looks a little bit off kilter. So my recommendation would be just use your name and put that over here. Keep the logo mark in this area nice and big and prominent. It looks a little bit cleaner with that. So as I'm scrolling down, taking a look at the option to play your video portrait and all of the other videos here, and you kind of walk us through, some of the other services that you provide, like research and market analysis and media strategy, and then kind of, these options to, find out more about you. We've got your social media down here in the bottom. So we've got these other areas that we can connect with you online, which is great. All right, I'm just going to continue to poke through. So let's go over to Portfolio, and we'll check out your video editing. And so we have all of the videos here, which are great. I'm just going to go ahead and press play on one so we can see how this works. So it's going to open up in more of a light box. We've got the H+ sports drink. Okay. So this is cool, and then we have the description, right? So an advanced audio engineering project. So what I really appreciate this is that you shared your process and really highlighted what it is that you want us to learn about your skill set from this video. I'm going to just see if that continues, right? So here, same, right? So this is a project meant to be a trailer for a much larger project, a documentary. So you've given us the context to understand the content. It was produced, written, directed, edited, and casted by you. So this is an important point to make, because it wasn't just like someone gave you this footage. This, could have been your entire idea from start to finish, and you executed that. And so as somebody looking to hire a professional, it's good to know that you can wear that many hats. I'm going to go here to research. Okay, so some of your marketing projects, okay. So great. Kind of scrolling down. I'm just going to click, let's say, on this one. All right, so you give it to me in a big form. I can see it. It's a little bit hard to read this text, but right now these titles, okay, let's see if it jumps me down. So they're like bookmarks on the page. But the one thing that it doesn't do is it doesn't associate the title for me like right next to the thing itself, right? So this is the JetBlue backgrounder, but I would prefer like a title up, you know, here, and maybe a short description about the, you know, the why, the how, you know, the purpose of this, and ultimately the effect that it had. I jump over here to bio. So we've got behind the strategy, we've got a nice photo of you, and then some of this background information. You know, I might recommend you pull this over in such a way so that it's like, you know, flanking the text, so that we get those side by side, so I'm not having to continue to scroll for that. I'd like to see you next to the text. You know, maybe crop it in such a way, you know, that it lines up directly, you know, side by side there. We've got your skills. So, okay, so we see your editing and your story, boarding, strategy analysis, public relations. So this is great. And you've got all of these different resumes, which is fantastic. You know, ways for people to kind of dig in, you know, more deeply if they have a more of a corporate interest or a creative one, which is great. I appreciate the way that you've really solidified this offering, right? Like if these are your skills and what you bring to the table, it's great that you have been able to articulate them in such a way. So your services, right? So I want to kind of just jump back and reload this page really quickly. All right, so they're all coming into the side. Okay, seemed like, I guess this one just kind of came in a little bit later down there. So here you're just basically talking about your skill set. I'm sorry, not your skill set, but your the services that you offer. And the way that you have this lined up, it almost looks like the price tag is one of the services, right? So I know that's not the intention here. You know, you're saying everybody has different needs and budgets, and so you know, you can align that with you know, what their needs are. I would format this in a slightly different way because it, you know, it looks like it is one of the services that you're offering. Under contact, just a form, let's collaborate, and like we've got your call to action here, which is, you know, you're always interested in new projects, right? So you know, basically hire me, I'm taking on work, which is great. You know, this is definitely an evolution of the last time I saw your site, Christopher. There's so much great stuff here with a few tweaks that, you know, I think it could be even stronger. If you have any questions about this feedback, or you know, want to show me a future iteration of it, I'm always happy to take a look. If you guys have any questions about this feedback, please let me know.